Welcome to the video guide for the FlashyScience IV Characteristics of Devices experiment. On the left-hand side of the screen is a voltmeter for measuring potential difference. On the right-hand side is an ammeter for measuring electrical current. In the centre of the screen is a battery cell holder for applying potential difference. At the top of the screen is a rheostat, otherwise known as a potentiometer or variable resistor. And at the bottom of the screen is the device being measured. Upon starting the experiment, this is a resistor of resistance 10 plus or minus 1 ohm. That means its resistance lies somewhere between 9 and 11 ohms. To operate the experiment, click and drag the contact on the rheostat. The contact itself is here on this wire coil, and changing the position of the contact changes the resistance of the rheostat, which controls the potential difference applied to the device. The potential difference is shown on the voltmeter on the lower scale here in volts. However, it's difficult to measure the electrical current at the moment because it's so low. To overcome this problem, click on the switch on the ammeter to change the sensitivity and move to the scale shown in milliamps. This makes the measurement much easier, and we can now find the current passing through the device. We can now move the rheostat contact to several positions, and at each, measure the potential difference and electrical current flowing through the device. If we want to change the device, we must first click and drag the rheostat contact to the left-hand side to the off position so that there's no potential difference being applied to the device. Then we click on the device and move to the Device Select screen. Here we have a choice between 4 resistors and 2 other devices, a filament lamp and a diode. 3 of the resistors have their values of resistance on them. 10 plus or minus 1 ohm, that's the one that was in the experiment to start with. 20 plus or minus 2 ohms, and a 50 plus or minus 5 ohm resistor. There's also a resistor of unknown resistance, so it could have a very different value each time you run the experiment. And finally, there's the diode and the filament lamp. To select one of these devices, just click on it. For instance, the 50 ohm resistor, and it moves to the top of the screen, and a green and white confirm button appears in the top left of the screen. To move the selected device to the main experiment, click the confirm button. Doing that here means that we move back to the main experiment screen and see that the 50 ohm resistor is in place. We can then apply a potential difference by clicking on and dragging the rheostat contact before measuring both the potential difference and current flowing through the resistor. I'm going to go back to the Device Select screen, so I need to move the rheostat contact position to off again, and then click on the resistor. I'm now going to choose the filament lamp, and then I'll click on the Confirm button to install the lamp into the main experiment. This time, as I move the rheostat contact to increase the potential difference, the current becomes too high to measure on the milliamp scale. However, I can click on the ammeter switch to move the sensitivity back to where it was originally, so that the current can be measured easily using the upper scale on the ammeter, which shows current in amps. As I move the rheostat contact further, the potential difference exceeds 1 volt and goes off the voltmeter scale. I can now click on the sensitivity switch on the voltmeter to change to using the upper scale and allow higher potential differences to be measured. Let's change device again. I'll move the rheostat contact back to the off position and click on the filament lamp to move to the Device Select screen. Now if I click on this resistor, but then realize I instead want to look at the diode, that's fine. I can click on any of the unselected devices to return the initial choice to its original position, leaving me free to then choose the diode. I can then click the Confirm button to move the diode to the main experiment screen. You can now see that I can click and drag on the rheostat contact to change the potential difference applied to the diode and the current flowing through it. I can also change the polarity of the potential difference, which you may realize is important for the diode. To do this, click on the battery cell holder and the contacts will change round, along with other changes in wiring to the voltmeter and ammeter. Now, the changes in contact reverse the polarity of potential difference applied to the diode and of the current flowing through the device. The changes in wiring mean that the potential difference in current still show as positive on the meters, but they should be recorded as having a negative value. I'll now click on the battery cell holder again to move it back to its original polarity. The experiment also has additional functionality that you can access via this icon in the top left of the screen. This opens a menu with 5 more icons. The first icon simply closes the menu again. The second icon returns you to the experiment screen when you are on a question screen. We'll come to those shortly. The third icon is the Click Information icon. Selecting this will highlight all of the areas of the screen that can be clicked to control the experiment. The fourth icon opens up a screen of questions directly related to the experiments you might have just performed. The final icon opens up revision questions that cover the area of IV characteristics of devices more generally. All questions are answered automatically, and many contain randomly generated numbers, so you can retake them as many times as you like for practice. You have now seen all of the controls needed to investigate IV characteristics of devices using this FlashyScience experiment, and we hope you enjoy exploring.